people, students. And so I felt strongly led by the Spirit to sell the land and put the money in the building. That changed my fortune. That was it. And I was going to use it to build my first house. I was staying in a boys' quarters at Airport Residential, one of my father's properties. When I sold that land and gave the money for this building to lay the foundation, I knew from that day that the narrative of my life has changed. That was it. When I lived in America, my children were in school. 4 of them, 2 were at Victory in Tulsa, and 2 were at Oral Roberts University, paying $60,000 for 2, another 25, 50. It was a lot. And so I traveled every week to preach all over America so I can make enough money to pay their school fees. The church was young, couldn't pay their fees, couldn't bring anything from Ghana to pay the fees. And I had saved some monies to help pay the fees. Then there was a situation. There was a situation with a family. And they came to see me and I had in my heart. Because what they wanted, I had it. But the plans for it was not to give it to family that is in trouble. It was for my children's school fees. And I felt strongly in my spirit that I should help them with that money. But my mind and my flesh was fighting my spirit. After a lot of struggle, I released that money. And when he talks about sowing in tears, I was in tears. I was in a lot of pain because the time to pay school was almost around the corner. And I didn't know who to go to, who to ask help from. In Ghana, sometimes it's easy to go ask a family member, a friend, a lover. In America, no, everybody plans and they budget. They live by budget. They won't help you. So I sowed them a seed to help them out. I was there when a friend of mine from California called me and he said, "Where are you?" And I said, I'm in town. And he said, "Can I come see you?" I said, "Come." So he said, "I'm coming with a red eye." He flew down throughout the whole night from San Diego, He landed at BWI Baltimore International Airport. I picked him up. We went for breakfast. He said, "The Lord spoke to me yesterday to give you a check of $50,000. Then I thanked him. I needed it. So the next day I picked him up to drop him at BWI to go to San Diego. And I said, "Did you sleep well?" He said, "My sleep wasn't too good." And I said, "Why?" He said, "There was a lot of restlessness." And I said, "What happened?" He said, "The Lord had told me to give you 100,000, but I didn't want to do it, so I gave you 50. Then he said, "This is another check of another 50. I have given up a lot of cars to people. Sometimes people will bring me cars and I know it's not for me. So I just say, give it to this person, give it to that person. A lot of cars. And I say, put it in their name. Some I say, put it in the church. On my birthday, somebody brought me a 4-wheel drive, brand new from the factory. And he said, "What name do you want to put in?" I said, "We don't have cars when we have guests. And every week we have guests flying in. Even today they are flying in. Very important VIPs from all over the world." So I said, put it in the name of one of the church names, and let's use it when we have guests, so we don't have to be using the church's money to pay for all these cars we go high. And he said, are you sure you don't want it in your name? It's for your birthday. I said, no, I don't want it in my name. If I want a car, I know how to believe God for it. So put in the name of the church. And it's not because I have a lot of cars. It's not because I have a lot of cars. I gave my four-wheel drive to Bishop Obodai. And I told him, I said, Bishop, this car you are using is too old. Come and take mine before I change my mind. Because I looked at the car and I didn't want to give it. So I said, Bishop, where are you? I said, I have a strong indication in my spirit that I should give you my car. So come take it. And I said, Bishop, if you don't come now and you delay, I will change my mind. That is what it means by sowing in tears. Because sometimes, you think when Abraham went to sow Isaac, he did it in joy? No. That is the price you pay, you know. And from that time, I gave him my car. I've had so many better ones, all the new models, than what he's using. And when they bring, they say, Papa, what name do you want it? I said, put in the name of the church. One time I went home after a particular seed I sown. I went home and I saw 2 4-wheel drives at the front of my house with this long truck. Quickly, I have to close. So I asked security, who is this for? And they said, for you. And I said, who brought it? And they said, the person said, we shouldn't tell you. And I said, no, I'm not receiving any gift. I don't know where it came from. I don't need that. So if the person will not reveal who he is and where the car is coming from, please call him, tell him to come and take it back. So the security called the guy and he called me and said, oh, Papa, I'm sorry, it's me. I was in Dubai buying some cars for our company and the Lord said I should buy 2 for you. So I said, okay, thank you for letting me know. So I said, you can put. Then the next day he called me, what name do you want the cars in? I said, put it in the name of the church. He said, but it's specifically for you. I said, it doesn't matter, put it in the name of the church. The church needs it. That is a sacrifice. Even though I have need, but I sow. And in sowing, God has always blown my mind. I remember when we were moving from where we live in America, a place called Potomac. We went to a place called Reston, Virginia, and we were looking for a house to buy when we moved from Potomac. And we saw this house, amazing house, 4 stories with elevators and everything. We bought it at that time, I can't remember, I think it's about $2 million or something. So over there you can get banks if you have good credit to sponsor. So we paid for it, we got it. Few months after we bought it, the price tripled. That is how God can bless you. The price just tripled, and when you came there, we've hosted a lot of African presidents in our house in America. When you came there, you won't believe that that was my house. I'm telling you. And it was mind-blowing. And little did I know that it was in the newspapers that it was the biggest house in the whole of Reston, Virginia. Somebody sent me the article, and I said, how? These are billionaires. It was the biggest house in the whole of Reston, Virginia. Anyway, I don't own it anymore. I sold it, so don't go look for it. It belongs to somebody else. Somebody bought it, So I'm saying all of this to say that don't go and cut a goat. Don't sacrifice your children, your loved ones, your wife is already done. The things God requires of you when it comes to sacrifice is some of those your precious things that you are holding on to that you don't want to let go. Whatever they are, I can tell you,